Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I have a special project for us today that when I've been following different art blogs online, I found this project called the Rainbow Connection. And teachers in Brooklyn, artists in Brooklyn, started this movement of people making rainbows and putting them in their windows so that when people drove by and kids drove by houses or walked by houses, they would be able to see the rainbows as part of a connection that even though we're all at home right now, we're all together. So our project is called Rainbow Connection. And this was my example rainbow that I made. So I painted the rainbow and then I put alone together. I used watercolor and oil pastel, but you can make a rainbow out of any materials that you have. So I wrote that you will need paper of any size, drawing, coloring, or painting supplies. This is really open-ended, so you could even use a collage if you want to cut or rip paper to make a rainbow. So again, looking at my example, I made a blue background like the sky, but you don't have to do that. So I just drew out a rainbow with clouds using a pencil. And then I actually went over it with white oil pastel to separate my colors so the watercolor wouldn't bleed into each other. I'd like to do a little better on my next one. So if you notice, like I got a little too close together with oil pastel in some points so the color didn't go all the way through. So I'm just going to make thicker lines so that I have more room to paint. But I would love to see these, and if you want to hang them in your window as part of the Rainbow Connection, that would be wonderful. So when you make a rainbow, the way that I remember the colors, I'm going to show you my example again, sorry. The way that I remember the colors, the way I was taught when I was a kid, is called Roy G. Biv. So it's a name, Roy G. Biv, and it stands for R for red, O for orange, Y for yellow, so that's Roy. G is for green. And then there's Biv, which stands for blue, and then there's indigo and violet. Violet is like purple. And most rainbows and colors I see you don't need to have like a indigo color. So that's fine if you don't. I just use purple. But it kind of helps me remember like Roy G. Biv. And I use that all the time to say like, oh, the order of colors, even on a color wheel or in a rainbow, is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then I just say purple. But you're welcome to do indigo and violet if you would like to. So I'm going to start with a pencil, and I'm going to use it I was using it lightly on there so you didn't see my pencil, but for you guys being able to see, I will probably actually draw not lightly as I would. So to get those sections for 6 colors, I need 7 lines. So I'm going to show you one more time. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors. So in order to make that much space for each color, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. So I'm going to start with my biggest one first. And it's going to be just a big curved line over my paper. I just want to see if you can see that. Probably a little hard to see. I'm going to push down a little bit harder now. Okay, so there's 1. And then I've got 2. 3. I'm trying to keep my lines evenly apart. Trying, not perfecting. 4. 5. Oops, that one got a little thick. 6. Right, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 7. So this one's nice and big. And then I can make my big clouds. there's my rainbow. You can see, right? Yep, okay. Could just erase some of these. So now I'm gonna use my white oil pastel to go over my rainbow lines. This is a really tight working space. Okay. These rainbows will also brighten your day because it's a little cloudy right now. All right, so I'm pushing down pretty hard with the oil pastel because I want it to have like a thick layer of oil pastel on there because that's what's gonna keep my colors from running. Watercolor can be a little challenging just because water can run really fast across your paper. And when I say run, I mean kind of slip around. Okay, so I'm gonna still white oil pastel all my lines, but I think this time it will come out better because I'm not, like in my last one I overlapped because my lines were close together, so hopefully making a really big rainbow is going to help. So I did see this online and it was kind of this cool movement, and it was families who are trying, who want to go outside to get some air with their, with their kids would walk by. They would play the I Spy game as they were walking, and the kids would look for other rainbows in the windows. So families started hanging, ooh, I broke it. Families started hanging up rainbows. And again, it's just a symbol of us all experiencing this together, which is why in my painting I wrote alone together, because even though we can't all be together in school, we are together in trying to learn and be in this new normal for a little while, all together. Okay, and then I apologize if you can hear Sesame Street. Okay. So I'm almost done with the white. Again, you don't have to do this. I just did it to, like I said, keep my watercolors from running into each other so that I don't get frustrated when they accidentally mix. Oops. Oh, I can hear the cookie sound. Okay. Almost done. Okay, and then what I actually also did was I closed off the bottom of the rainbow here too, so they didn't run into the cloud. I didn't use the pencil for that part because I didn't want to show that line. I just did it with a oil pastel. Okay, so once all your paper's oil pasteled, if you choose to do it this way, you don't have to, then you can start coloring. So again, we're doing Roy G. Biv, so we're going to start with red. And sometimes red watercolor can almost come out kind of pink. And if your watercolor color is lighter than you'd like it to be, you want it to be more vibrant, just use less water. So I'm not gonna re-dip into the water, I'm just gonna dip into the red. And that's gonna give it like a darker, richer look. The more water you use, and my students should know this because we talk about it every time we watercolor, the more watercolor you use, the darker, or the lighter, I'm sorry, your color's gonna get. So you can spread out a color and make it lighter if you use a lot of water. Okay. So in our Roy G. Biv, the next color is orange. I don't know what on earth song is on Sesame Street right now. Okay. So orange. So remember, these art lessons are optional. I just want you guys to have different choices in the artwork that you make, but I'm happy if you are creating anything at all. It could be something, you could be building something at home, you could be making things outside with nature. You know, art is a lot of different things as long as you're using your creativity and imagining things or playing with things. That's all creativity right there. Okay, so the next color is yellow. So Roy is almost done. So it's like Roy is the first name, right? Uh-oh, looks like I had a tiny bit of orange in my yellow. Ah. And you could add other things in your picture you want, like if you'd like to add a sun, or anything you want. Okay, so my first name is done. Now the G is like a middle initial, so Roy G. And my green's kind of light, so I'm gonna not use water and just re-dip into the paint palette and see if I can get it to be a little darker. Okay. So my G is almost done. I have a time lapse that I'll post too to show you how I did the first one. It's kind of funny for me to look back on the time lapse because when you watch yourself do something, you catch mistakes you make. But mistakes are good. Okay, so my G middle initial is good. Now for the last name. So again, I don't really push to use the indigo. I just, blue and purple is fine. But if you have indigo, if you have different shades of purple, you're welcome to use it. And then your background is also up to you. Like I used blue like the sky. I wrote a message on there. You guys, totally up to you on if you want to do that. I probably won't paint the background for us in this part of the video. You can see me do it in the time lapse, but just to save time. Now purple, aka violet. Mr. Bain is really good at calling purple violet. And then I always call it purple, so he's the more official. Mr. Bain teaches high school art, and he's good about calling the color its official name, as where I call it purple. And it's a little bit light, so I'm going to just try to get this purple to be a little darker. Okay. And for my older kids, this might seem kind of silly, just making a rainbow and like, but it's kind of therapeutic to do something that's easy for you. And then you can, I have white in my palette, so I just use the white because it almost will give you like a tint of another color. Like my white's got some purple in it from my brush, and I always just feel like if I leave something white on my paper, it's not finished, so I take the time to paint it white. And then, so I'll paint my cloud. And again, the oil pastel is stopping any of the colors from mixing, which is really nice. And then I'll do a little bit of the sky just because I feel like it's going quick and it's hard to see, I feel like, the cloud if you don't do the sky, so I'll just do part of it and then I'll leave you guys to do it. Okay, so like this is really dark blue. I didn't mean for it to, so if I want to make it lighter, I'm just going to add more water and try to spread it out. I'm like splashing water everywhere. But watercolor is tricky and it dries pretty quickly. So if you want to move the paint, you have to move it kind of fast. Oh my gosh, I'm spraying blue everywhere. Okay, so I was able to lighten it up a little bit. That was almost like shockingly a little darker blue than I first anticipated. Okay. So again, if you put a color down and it's really dark, just use water, move it around. If it's too light, use less water. And I would welcome you to hang your rainbow up in your window so that you can brighten somebody else's day. And I miss you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful Friday, a wonderful weekend, and we will have a new video on Monday. Take care, okay? Bye.